Hi everyone, Lucas Gilkey here with Hometown Hero. Today we're going to be talking about state-run monopolies for marijuana and how we ended up there. Thanks for joining us. So just to be clear, Hometown Hero, the products that we make are cannabis products. They're hemp-derived cannabinoids. We do not participate in the marijuana industry. None of the products that we make are derived from marijuana. We have nothing to do with marijuana. But I think it's important to understand where marijuana is and how they got there. And we're going to be using a bunch of different references and sort of talking about this on a different state level paths that we're taking to get there. So we'll use Texas, for example, to start, right? There are currently 3 licensed spots in Texas for companies to produce medical marijuana. It's unfortunate that the marijuana program in Texas, the medical marijuana program, is where it is. If you go onto a lot of websites that reference medical marijuana programs throughout the country, a lot of them don't even cite Texas as having a medical marijuana program because it's so restrictive. So, you know, you've got theoretically 3 licenses in Texas. As far as I can tell, and as far as I know, there's only one company actively producing products for customers within Texas under the medical marijuana program, even though there's technically 3 license spots. Now, when we way back in the day when they started the medical program in Texas, we actually looked at participating in it. We went pretty in-depth in the analysis, went through all the requirements, and we reached the conclusion that it was impossible to make money on that program and run a sustainable business. And I don't know the companies personally that are doing it right now, but I know it's been a struggle for them. And so, you know, you've got Texas, who is theoretically, you know, one of the largest cannabis consuming states in the country, and it's so restrictive that most people can't get access to the marijuana products within Texas. Now, on the flip side, they are using our products because we aren't requiring them to disclose their medical conditions. We aren't requiring them to do all these different things. You know, our view on these products is if you're a consenting adult and you want to use a cannabis product, who is to stop you, right? This isn't like people are using these products and going out and committing crimes and doing all this crazy stuff. These are products that adults use to sleep, for PTSD, for medical issues. These are very important products that we're finding that people are getting a lot of life quality changes for, positive life quality changes from using these products. And yet the states are trying to restrict them and trying to make it so not everybody can use them. You know, the alcohol industry is a much better model of giving people access to a product. Now, you know, whether or not alcohol helps people, that's a whole different thing. I'm not going to get into that in this video. But the model that the alcohol industry ended up with is a much better model than the path that we're taking for the marijuana industry and how restrictive it is. And these states are allowing these monopolies to essentially be created. You know, in Texas, we only have one company producing medical marijuana products. And it's unfortunate. So, you know, let's talk about the fees. Application or licensing fees vary from state to state. So, $1,000 fee in Alaska, $50,000 dispensary fee. In Florida is one of the craziest. There's a $60,000 application fee in Florida, and yet there's no guarantee that you'll actually be granted a license. Last I heard, the wait list in Florida to get a license is like a decade long. And yet you've got hundreds, if not thousands, of companies that have paid a $60,000 license fee, and they're just sitting there waiting. That's pretty wild. Illinois, $100,000 non-refundable early approval process. New York, $200,000 preliminary registration fee. North Dakota, annual license, $110,000. New Hampshire, the Liquor Commission will regulate and administer the cultivation and sale of cannabis in at least 10 retail stores. These fees make it very tough for normal people to go open a store. Like if you want to open a candle store, right? Do you have to pay somebody $100,000 to open your store? No. You've got your normal business expenses. But in the cannabis industry and marijuana, not only do you have, you know, the burden of trying to find somebody that will lease you space to sell marijuana out of, which is very difficult in most states unless it's established, you've also got this crazy additional licensing fee on top of that. Now, we are starting to see some sort of, you know, social equity programs in states that are allowing people that were convicted for marijuana crimes or different things to allow them a little bit more on the benefit side on opening the dispensaries, whether it's discounted application fees or prioritization in the process. which is great to see. Thanks for spending 5 years in jail for a bogus marijuana crime that we pegged you up on, but here you go open a dispensary. I mean, at least it's something, right? This whole model is sort of, pardon the term, but it's sort of a shit show. And so every state's trying to figure it out. Every state's trying to do it differently. But what we're seeing from the marijuana industry is, in all honesty, we haven't really seen a state that's done it right. And it's becoming unfortunate because now the people that have set the marijuana regulation are now looking at the hemp industry to set the same regulation. And that's a problem because we're smart enough to know we don't want to end up where they ended up. And so we're fighting back and trying to take a different path. And so a lot of the content we're producing, the videos we're producing, the messaging that we're giving everybody, all of our efforts on the legislative and the lobbying side, a lot of it is protecting our industry from ending up like marijuana. Now, for whatever reason, the marijuana industry really wants us regulated to end up like they did, right? Because it's unfair if we don't have those regulations. But this is how advancement works. We're learning from what they went through, and we're integrating the lessons that have been learned into what we're doing now as a business model. And it's important that we do that. If we don't do that, then why are we doing this, right? So it's very important that we learn from the marijuana industry and we try and do it better. We're being given a chance to do this over and to do it right. And Jack Herer saw it in the 80s. That's why he started the Hemp Industries Association, the HIA, because he saw hemp as being the advancement for cannabis products in the US. And so that's how we ended up kind of where we are, and that's why we're choosing the paths that we're choosing. That's why we're choosing the battles that we're choosing as we go through this. And it's important for everybody to understand that. In conclusion, I'm going to read a couple quotes that Cynthia Cabrera prepared for me. She's our Chief Strategy Officer. She's amazing. And it was stuff that we think are appropriate for this video. Shailene Title, CEO of the Parabola Center, a drug policy think tank, said, quote, while states are making historic progress creating paths for small businesses and disenfranchised groups, larger companies are expanding, consolidating, lobbying for licensing rules to create or maintain oligopolies. Susan Gunellis of Cannabis Media said, quote, only free competition ensures fair prices and market growth over the long term, as well as ongoing innovation and product accessibility. That's how to protect the community culture of the cannabis industry and prevent big cannabis from developing, similar to big tobacco and big alcohol, in parentheses, where a few companies control the market. So what does this have to do with hemp? We're a federally legal product. We're also legal in most states. And so we are giving people an alternative to the marijuana industry, an alternative to sort of dealing with all of that. We're also more readily accessible, right? Most people don't realize that you can go onto our website, buy cannabis products, and we ship them to your house. And that's in, I think right now we're in probably 44 out of 50 states. So it's important to understand we are not trying to compete against marijuana. It's a separate industry. We are not a marijuana company. We're a cannabis company. We're a hemp-derived cannabinoid company. And so the products that we provide to people, to veterans, to people going through different issues that are looking for relief, those products are very important to our customers, and that's why we do this. We love serving people, we love helping people, and it's very important to us, and that's what we're always going to fight for. So as we're going through this legislative session, as we're dealing with all these different companies and different industries trying to take us out, it was important to us to share this journey with all of you and understand sort of what we're up against, just trying to help people. So thank you for joining us this week. I appreciate it as always, and we'll see you next week. Happy hunting.